We've all seen the massive gains that Pokemon products can make once they're out of print. From first edition base to Sky Ridge to Supreme Victors breaking $10,000, $50,000, and even $200,000. But I haven't seen anyone make a concrete way to predict how much they'll increase. In this video, I'll show you an equation I made and how I made it that can give us a pretty good estimation of how Sword and Shield booster boxes might behave over the next 4 to 5 years. Without further ado, let's get into it. So this video is going to kind of fall into two parts. First part, I'm going to explain the equation I made and how I got it and why it works and how it works. And then in part two, I'm going to use it to predict the Sword and Shield booster box prices after they've reached 5 years in the market. So to start, here's my sheet. I got it pulled up. We are going to be looking at the latter half of Sun and Moon. So all of these bolded sets down here. The reason I didn't do the earlier half of Sun and Moon was there was a bunch of issues with Burning Shadows specifically, where it has a fairly cheap booster box, but it has one Charizard card with an absurdly high PSA 10 price. I think it's like $2,300, something ridiculous. But it skewed it off, and then these two sets actually fell fairly within the parameters and made a good plot, but they're getting a little too old where I feel that they may not be the best predictors of how Sword and Shield boxes will do in the market, just because they're so far gone from those Sword and Shield booster boxes. So just like the last, I think it's seven sets. And what we have here is the booster box price after 5 years in the market. So these aren't all current values. I think the last 3 are current values, but these are after 5 years. All these data points in here are 5 years after. So 5-year booster box price. Then I have the 5-year average of the top 5 singles prices. So I just added the top 5 singles on price charting, divided them by 5. Then next column, I got the 5-year average of the top 5 PSA 10 cards. So like the Latios GX, etc. Those cards. Those get averaged here. And then I added these two columns together and put this into this third column here. So this third column, obviously it's much less than what the booster box price is. But when you put them into a table like so, and then you make a scatter plot with it, this is the scatter plot you get. And you can kind of see they follow this trend pretty well. And I made a linear regression. That's where you get this line here. And that linear regression gives us an equation. And with that equation, we can extrapolate and predict how other booster boxes may perform based off their singles. And that's the general concept of this model. So you can see Team Up's way up here, and that falls pretty much right on the line. And then you got I think Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Minds, etc. They're all pretty close to the line, which is shown by that R2 value of 0.973. R2 value just shows basically how correlated a data set is and whether it's positive or negative. The highest it can be is 1, lowest it can be is -1. As close as you are to 1, that means it's positively correlated, and it's correlated pretty strongly together. So this is a pretty good model, essentially. It's not perfect. I'm well aware it's not perfect. And if you guys have any suggestions for how to improve it, I would be happy to take them because I want to make this as good as possible. But what we have here is our equation right here. And it may look like a jumbled mess. It kind of is, I'm aware. But it does give us a good prediction of our booster box prices, and I can put it in Excel. I don't have to worry about typing in looking at this equation every time. All right, before I show you the booster box prices for Sword and Shield after 5 years, I do want to make a note. Because Sword and Shield got to go through COVID and got that massive boom and that massive increase, I am calling this the COVID tax, essentially. So I'm taking $100 off of every calculation that it makes for Sword and Shield booster boxes. So every value you'll see on the presentation slides is $100 less than what the actual equation would model for. And you'll see, I think that's a good amount to subtract off. And without further ado, we'll hop into the predictions for Sword and Shield. Let's hop into the prices for Sword and Shield, but first, I gotta remind you one thing. So, remember that the prediction for the 5-year booster box prices for the Sun and Moon sets were based off of the 5-year prices of those singles. So, these predictions may not be perfect because we don't have the 5-year prices of the singles. We only have what they are right now. All right, enough of me yapping. Let's get into it. Actually, first, predict which is going to be last and which is going to be first. It's not a trick question, not even remotely a surprise. Dead last, Darkness Ablaze. Current market price is $143. Check today on price charting. And the predicted price by August of 2025 is $234. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits this, honestly. Like, people love collecting sealed product, and there isn't honestly that much of it left. And like, even though this is the worst set since Crimson Invasion, I can still see it going up $90 in a year and a half. All right, in 11th place, we got Rebel Clash. So current market price for this is $180, which is kind of crazy for Rebel Clash, which also isn't a great set. It'll hit 5 years old in May of 2025, so it's got a little over a year, and this model has it predicted at $242, which I think is a fairly solid prediction, honestly. This one I was really happy with, like a $60 gain in a year and a half. I think that's like a solid prediction. It's not something crazy, it's not outlandish, and seeing this made me believe in my model even more, my equation even more. Over to number 10, we got Sword and Shield base. So this one as well. Current market price is $256, and the predicted price by February of 2025 is $253. And although the market price of it is already above what it's predicted to be, if you look at Sword and Shield base, it's kind of been stagnant. It's been going like up and down for the past year and a half, but it hasn't broken to like 270, 280, and it dipped down to I think like 220, 230 at some point in the year, but it's not going up really at this point. So I think this is going to be right on the money in February of 2025. All right, 9th place, Vivid Voltage. This set carried by that one Rainbow Pikachu. Current market price, $129, even cheaper than MSRP. Predicted to be $266 in a year and a half. I think this might be a little strong of a prediction. I don't really see this hitting 266, but I could see it hitting maybe 200. I think that'd be a fair prediction. But yeah, I think this one got a little bit overestimated, but it's not perfect. Walking to number 8 here. 8 is Battle Styles. Battle Styles is predicted to be at $290 in, I think, 2 years. I think that's a little high. I like Battle Styles as a set. I think it's kind of cool. It's different, but I don't think it's going to go to $290 just because of the sentiment the community has towards it. Its current market price is also $110, which I think is the cheapest out of everything on this list. So it going from $110 to $290, pretty much tripling its value, I don't really see that happening. I think it'll hit 200 by that time, easily hit 200, but I don't think it'll hit 290. All right, number 7, Astro Radiance. So there might be a few people that are surprised that Astro Radiance is this low, but honestly, it's not that good of a set. It doesn't have a huge chase. I don't think there's not a single card over, I think, $80. I think the Machamp is 78-ish. So there isn't a huge chase, and obviously this model is based off of those chase cards. And its current market price is below MSRP. It's sitting at $125. And this model, I mean, it has it going up to $300 by May of 2027. That's a little over 3 years. I see that happening. I think $300 in 3 years, that's a pretty fair guess. I don't think it would go higher than this. I think, if anything, it would be a little bit lower, but I think that's a fair guess for Astro Radiance. Following Astro Radiance, we got Silver Tempest, barely beating it out by $2. This one also ending in 2027. This has like a 3.5 year timeline on it. Current market price, $117. It's just a fairly recent set, so it's going to be below market price. But it's predicted to go up to 301, which is fairly good. Silver Tempest had some issues with those like God tins or God whatevers they were. And I don't know if that's going to hurt the box price, but I don't think it's going to help it. So 301 by November 2027. Solid guess. Barely beating out that, we have Brilliant Stars. I promise you, there'll be some sets with some bigger jumps than these. Brilliant Stars right now, $145, right at MSRP, I believe, and predicted price in, a little bit under 3 years is 306. I think that's pretty fair. I think it might even be a little higher. It's definitely going to be higher than Astro Radiance because it has cooler cards, has the Charizard, has that really cool Arceus card that I like. I'm an Arceus fan, so sue me. What happened to the top 4 here? These are all the big sets. These are the big hitters, and I'm pretty sure you can predict the exact ranking for these. So number 4, Chilling Rain, Chilling Pain, $181 right now. It's been on a tear recently. It's leveled off a little bit in the last few weeks, but it's still been going up pretty nicely. This is predicted to be at 382 by June 2025, so well over doubling its current value. And June of 2025 is a pretty short timeline for this to over double its value. I don't know if it's going to hit that, but if it keeps going up the way it has been recently, I think it could get near that. I think 340 would be a better conservative guess, but I guess only time will tell. And number 3, my personal favorite set, Lost Origin. So Lost Origin right now is sitting at 150. It is dying to go over MSRP. As soon as that thing is off Pokemon Center, that thing is shooting up. It's going to be exactly like Fusion Strike, in my opinion. And its predicted price by September of 2027 is $416. I think it could beat that out, honestly. I think it has a chance. It is such a cool set. The Giratina V alt art is an amazing chase card, and I know people are going to be opening this set dying to get it. There's 3.5 years to get there, and with the way Sword and Shield has been moving recently, I think it'll do it no problem. Alright, we'll hop into second place. Fusion Strike. It's been absolutely destroying it in the market recently. It says 178 on price charting. I don't think that's fully updated. I've seen it selling like 190, 200 recently, so asterisk on that. But this has a strong prediction for it to be at $433 in 2.5 years. I think it's hitting it no problem. I mean, cool set. It has a cool box art too with the Gengar VMAX there. I think a 100% gain on its current value in 2.5 years. I think Fusion Strike has that in it, honestly. All right, and to no one's surprise, number 1, we got Evolving Skies. So keep in mind that the equation uses the current single prices and the current PSA 10 prices to predict the box price, and as those Umbreon and Rayquaza cards go up in value, so will the equation's prediction for the box. So current market price $660. It's gonna be probably $700 by the time someone watches this, and its predicted price is to be $1,023 by August of 2026. I think it's gonna beat that out, no problem. I think it'll probably be closer to $1,400 by that time. I don't really see it leveling off at the $1,000 mark. I think maybe $1,100-1,500 is where it'll level off, but I guess we'll see. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate you sitting down and going through this with me. And if you have any suggestions for how to improve the equation, I would love help on it. I really want to improve it. I really want to make this something that can be used by other people to help with their investing strategies. And if you like this type of content, drop a like, subscribe. I really appreciate it as a new channel. But thank you for watching. This is JBTCG, and my name is Jack.